U.S. Senate candidate Bernie Moreno is joining me from the road on his way into Toledo. Bernie, always great to have you on the show. Thanks, man.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Thank you for having me. We're heading up 75 right now. We started in Dayton. We went over to Allen County. Now we're heading over to your neck of the woods.
Yeah, you got an event tonight. I think you've got time to register and RSVP for tickets for your event tonight at BernieMoreno.com. It's at 7 o'clock in I think Holland, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Yes, sir. And we got Donald Trump Jr. with us campaigning all over Ohio. You know, it's interesting, Scott. I have Donald Trump Jr. here in Ohio. Second time he's been here for me. We've had Senator Rubio, Senator Cotton, Senator Thune, Senator Cornyn. We have Governor Sanders coming. We got the entirety of the Republican Party coming to Ohio to make it clear that the Republican Party is unified to win this seat. Sherrod Brown has nobody coming into the state because, of course, he wants nothing to do with the Democrat policies, the very votes he's taken where he sided with Harris and Biden nearly 100% of the time. And also to point out to your listeners, when President Trump was in office, Sherrod Brown kneecapped him at every step of the way, fought him even on the basic items, like, for example, securing our border. And now we have the situation in Springfield, which is completely out of control.
It's like Halloween. Every 6 years, Sherrod Brown disguises himself as a moderate, tries to distance himself from the liberal policies that he's voted for 99% of the time. And people in the state continue to buy into it. He has been a lifelong, career politician, unlike a businessman like you, that has voted against policies that would help the people of Ohio. And hopefully people will wise up to that this time, because it's not only important to get Sherrod Brown out of office, but also to move our state and our country forward. And this is a great opportunity in Ohio to take the majority of the Senate back for Republicans, and hopefully with the White House as well.
Yeah, my race is simple. I win. The Republicans control the United States Senate. Heaven forbid Sherrod Brown gets elected for 6 more years on top of the 50 he's already been in elected office. And it's most likely that Chuck Schumer controls the Senate. So that can't happen. You know, the reality, again, like I said, is Sherrod Brown called what's going on at the border a right-wing conspiracy theory. Does that sound familiar, by the way?
I've heard
a right-wing conspiracy theory. Now, tell the people in Springfield, Ohio, that it's a right-wing conspiracy theory. Tell the people all over Ohio that are suffering from fentanyl overdoses and fentanyl deaths. Tell the people in Toledo that are seeing human trafficking and child sex trafficking that it's a right-wing conspiracy theory. And this is so out of touch, Scott, so out of touch with the voters of Ohio. But that's what happens. You go to D.C. for that long, your brain rots.
So the control of the U.S. Senate rests on you and your Senate race in Ohio. You, Bernie, almost have as much pressure on you as Ryan Day has to win a national championship this year.
And we're both going to get it done. That's what we have in common. Despite what happened on Saturday, where we could have played a little bit better, we're going to win at both counts. Look, this is very simple, Scott. When Donald J. Trump was in the White House, Ohio State beat Michigan 4 years in a row. When Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were in the White House, Michigan beat Ohio State. Vote accordingly.
So I think Michigan's doing a good job of beating themselves this year. Bernie Moreno here on the Scott Sands Show. BernieMoreno.com, RSVP for the event tonight here in Toledo. You're in the car. You're on 75 with a special guest. Can you mind passing the phone over to Don Jr. for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me hand the phone over to Donald Trump Jr. I'm so honored to have him here. Great man, great family. And here you go. Here's Donald Trump Jr.
Hey, Don.
Hey, Scott. How's it going, man?
Terrific. It's great to have you back on the show. How's the road trip with Bernie?
So far, so good, man. We gotta be out there all day, every day for the next, 57 days. We gotta win. We gotta save our country.
Who's controlling the radio? Do you get along with the music? Are you making the same snack stops that I've seen other candidates make? Everything good?
I think right now with the debate tonight, not a lot of radio. We're just all over social media, trying to push it all out there, trying to push the policies that the media refuses to push, the disastrous policies of Kamala Harris that have failed America for so long. I love watching these people, the clowns in the media. It's almost amazing. I mean, she's the candidate of change, Scott. She's I'm like, wait a minute. She's been in power for 4 years. Like, why hasn't she changed anything? Frankly, she's changed a lot. The problem is it's all been for the worse.
And continues to want to go down that path. We're talking to Donald Trump Jr. here on the Scott Sands Show. Speaking of the debate tonight, I mean, how much have you been involved at all in your dad's debate prep process?
I get a little I get a little amped up. I want to keep them calm, so I've stayed a little bit out of the debate process. You know, I'm known for many things, but remaining just even keel is not necessarily one of them. So I'm the wild man. So I figure there's enough people. I send over the facts. I let other people talk about them.
Yeah. So I mean, how much coaching does your dad actually take? Because it doesn't seem like it's a lot. And I'm watching all the talking heads, and hell, I'm a pundit myself. I've got advice for the former president, for your dad as well, on what he could do tonight and what I'd like to see. But he's his own man, and I think he's at his best when you let Trump be Trump.
Yeah, no, listen, everyone's going to give him advice. He listens to everyone. He'll hear every opinion, and then he's going to make up his own mind and his own decision. I mean, I think it's why he ruffled so many feathers in Washington, D.C., because all bureaucrats that think they're experts, they haven't done anything great in, decades, but they think they're experts. This is what you must do. He does it a different way. He ends up being right. We have successes, and their feelings are hurt that they weren't listened to. So, he'll always listen. He'll hear all the sides, but he's always going to make up his own mind.
He performed so well at the last debate against Joe Biden that he ended a 40-year career politician's career right there on the stage. You could see Joe Biden's career die during that debate.
Yeah, I mean, you could see him throw in the towel. I thought the most indicative line, frankly, was Joe Biden. I don't even know what he just said right now. I don't think Joe Biden even knows what he said right now. But yeah, it's ridiculous. The difference is now the media was actively working to try to get Joe Biden out of the race. They were actually having a brief 3-week moment of clarity where they were actually intellectually honest. It wasn't because they were being intellectually honest. It was because they were trying to influence election and put in their puppet candidate, Kamala Harris. Now that's all changed. So no matter what my father says, they're going to say, he's racist and he's a chauvinist and a misogynist. And all, it's coming. I mean, ABC News, I saw the stats today, 100% positive coverage for Kamala Harris for the last few weeks. For my father, negative 93%. It was 93% of the coverage of Trump was negative. 100% was positive for Harris. Kamala Harris is a radical San Francisco liberal. She was rated the most liberal senator in the United States Senate, left of Bernie Sanders, because at least Bernie Sanders somewhat cares about American jobs. Kamala Harris could care less. She'll just import other voters that she needs. That's the problem. The media will do whatever they can to help her out. And they're going to do that. I mean, I think you have one of the most biased platforms in the world hosting the debate. Now, you have to do it, or they'll say he's running from the debate. But the amount of mental gymnastics they're going to do tonight to try to prop her up and to save her, she's the daughter of Marxist professors. I mean, that doesn't just go away. She's not just going to become a moderate. She's a radical San Francisco liberal.
Bernie Sanders at least has been honest about who he is and what he believes. Kamala Harris, the vice president, has flip-flopped on everything, trying to lie about what she believes.
She'll tell you whatever you need to hear to win tonight. And then, then once they get into power, just like Joe Biden did with fracking. Remember the Democrat debate in the 2020 primary debate? Everyone was going to ban fracking, and then they get to the debate with Trump. No, I would never do that. I would never do it. Media says, oh, Joe Biden would never do that. That'd be a disaster for America. And on day one, they ended the Keystone Pipeline, killed tens of thousands of good-paying jobs for Americans, killed energy independence in an instant. They'll tell you whatever you need to hear to win, and that's the problem. Republicans say, oh, yeah, CNN says she's moderate. Oh, she must be a moderate. Maybe we'll go that route, She's going to change all these things. She's had the most power of any vice president probably in the history of the United States, Scott. Joe Biden's been absent. He's been gone out of office on vacation for 40% of his tenure. He's not quite there mentally. Any of the things she's talking about that she's going to change and do, she could have already been doing. She could have started that process. Hasn't been, because she has no intention of doing anything differently. You see, even today, they finally, after months of her being the presumptive nominee and the official nominee, they finally put up some policies. The problem is they forgot to clip the metadata out that they literally cut and paste Joe Biden's policies right there. Nothing's going to change. But the media's not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you that everything's going to be different. She's going to do great. She's a credible scholar, or whatever it may be. And then they're going to push the radical policies of the Biden-Harris administration that have been failing us since my father left office.
If you're going to plagiarize Joe Biden, at least run it through ChatGPT and rewrite it or something. That was
minor details, like cover up the source code. I mean, we know nothing's going to change. You and I do, because we do this every day.
Right.
But there are Americans out there that are struggling. They're not paying that much attention because it's hard enough to feed your family under Bidenomics. that Kamala Harris, says is one of the greatest economic revitalizations in the history of the world. It's shocking. I mean, if I have sticker shock when I go to McDonald's with my kids, that's probably a problem for average Americans. I understand exactly where I come from, and I understand I'm the son of a billionaire. If I'm upset, if I'm saying, man, that's expensive, what's it doing to people who are making $50,000, $60,000 a year as a family? It's brutal. It's destroying our country. And then we give all of our taxpayer benefits to illegals. I mean, that's Kamala Harris's America. Don't forget it. Don't let the media gaslight you and tell you that it's going to be different. It's not going to be different. It's going to be worse.
We're talking to Donald Trump Jr. here on the Scott Sand Show. He's on the campaign trail with Bernie Moreno. Will be in Toledo tonight before the presidential debate. I know we're short on time and you're on the road. I wanted to ask you about a video that Melania Trump posted earlier today promoting her book, which I think everybody is looking forward to reading, suggesting a conspiracy in the assassination attempt on your dad, saying there's definitely more to this story. What do you know about what she may allege in this book? What do you believe around the attempt on your father's life?
Yeah, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out that was an attempt. I mean, I know the Secret Service guys. I'm a
And by the way, I don't want to interrupt you, but one of those Secret Service guys on your father's detail from right here in Sylvania, Ohio, went to Sylvania Northview. I'm not mentioning his name on the air, but he threw his body around your father to save his life.
And by the way, some of those guys are great, right? It's the bureaucrats in charge, right? So you have the team that's with him, and like I know some of those guys, they're like brothers. I had a detail myself. I have lifelong friends in the Secret Service. The difference between those guys and bureaucrats or people that they put in, and you heard there were Homeland Security people there covering Trump, even though, they know this stuff is out there. Those kind of lapses don't happen. These guys train for the 0.00001% chance of something happening. When I had a detail, I'd go to a buddy's farm somewhere, and they were landing Blackhawks, in the front yard before I got there to make sure they could evacuate us out. True story. They don't let these little things happen. That's not a coincidence. A shooter is identified with a rangefinder, and they let the guy go on even after it's identified 10 minutes before he ever gets on the stage, and they let him go on. They have him in the sights for 10 minutes, and while he's speaking and nothing happens, that doesn't happen. That's not a coincidence. That's not a failure. That's intentional. There's no other explanation for it, okay? I'm not even being conspiratorial. If you don't think that there's much more to that, you're an idiot, because it's literally impossible. Like I said, I know these guys. I know how they train. I'm lifelong friends with many of them. That didn't happen by chance. These guys don't make those kind of mistakes when they have the A-team on there and they're doing things by the book. That doesn't happen. A shooter doesn't get within 130 yards of a former president and the presumptive nominee of a party on a roof open for 20 minutes. That's nonsense.
Donald Trump Jr. here on the Scott Sand Show. I want to wrap things up with Bernie Moreno. You're on your way to Toledo, BernieMoreno.com. Where are you going to watch the debate tonight? Because you're campaigning. Do you want to join me for a cigar? I'll have a cigar and a bourbon and watch the debate with you if you want.
Let me try to find you, man. I got to get doing more campaign stops tomorrow elsewhere, but I'm running all over the place. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be watching the debate. I'm going to be live tweeting it. It's going to be wild. But excited to be here with Bernie. Just a great American. I think I nailed it in my Ohio Senate picks. J.D. Vance, I think, has just done an incredible job. As you know, I was a very strong proponent of that. I've gotten to know both of the guys incredibly well over the last few years. Bernie's going to do an absolute incredible job for the people of Ohio, for the citizens here, for job creation. It's exactly what we need. He was telling me earlier, when Sherrod Brown took office in 1974, I said, wait, what? Bernie, what do you mean 1974? Just for perspective, Scott, in 1974, I was -4, and I'm an old man now. Okay, now he's going to be the catalyst of change after half a century. I mean, that's longer than most people's careers. Now he's going to do it different. I see some of the ads. He's pretending like he's a Trump Republican at this point. Certainly in the conservative parts of the state, the guy is a radical. He votes with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris almost 100% of the time. He's not a Trump Republican. He's not a moderate. He's a radical Democrat that, again, will lie to you to your face as the citizens of Ohio to try to get your vote, and then he'll go back to doing the bidding of the radical Democrats in Washington, D.C. That's who he is. Nothing more, nothing less.
Donald Trump Jr., I will see you tonight. I'll find you tonight at the event in Holland.
I look forward to it, buddy. Thank you.
All right, good to talk to you. Let me talk to Bernie real quick to wrap things up.
Hold on. Here's Bernie again to wrap it up.
All right, Scott, we get you the best guest, don't we?
Yeah. Do you have to take a lot of coffee to keep up with Donald Trump? With Donald Trump, he's wound up, ready to go, man.
Absolutely, you have to be. I mean, look what his family's gone through for 8 years. I mean, it's crazy. Look, we're going to get this country back, Scott. Let's get your listeners to vote early. If they can go on BernieMoreno.com, help out, volunteer, get a yard sign. We need everybody engaged.
BernieMoreno.com. If you want a link to the event tonight, I think you have to RSVP. I mean, it's a free event with Bernie Moreno and Donald Trump Jr. I think you need to reserve a spot. If you need that link, tweet me or message me, and I'll get you the link, or go to BernieMoreno.com. And that's the most important thing. Vote. Take the opportunity to make your voice heard and create some change. Get Sherrod Brown out of office. Bernie, I'll see you in a couple hours.
All right. Thanks, Scott.